The Open Task Podcast has returned. I'm Calvin Smith, my man Joe Carlos, and with us tonight, it's gonna be a great night. We got our main man, Maurice Shirley Shirts Hendricks. What's up, man?
Gentlemen, good to be here. Am I officially the third time?
Yeah.
It's like Saturday Night Live. You're in a special room in the back.
Yeah. You're like Buck Henry.
Buck Henry. The Five Timers Club is Saturday Night Live.
That's right. You know, hey.
You may know.
Gotta get people what they want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey,
you all may know Reese from his star turn, though. Not only as, of course, the brilliant mind behind Surly Shirts. I was going to say the original name, but behind Surly Shirts, the brilliant mind. And please check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and of course their Black History Tidbits, which are outstanding. Love Today's. Always a fan of that scene and that picture. That's a conversation for another time. But nonetheless, specifically though, also the great show Southside as a member of I Love Bust Downs. When I had COVID at the beginning of the year, I watched every episode 3 times. And 3 times.
I see. And
I was so excited, but I had no one to tell. I was so excited every time I saw you. I had no one to tell. So I'm just telling the world, check it out. Check it out.
Your 3 times put us over the top for season 3.
Oh, thank you.
Joe, you did it.
Happy to help.
Happy to help, Joe.
22 cents. 22 cents. Hopefully you got 22 cents out of my out of my streams.
And I heard on you all's program that you will only review a show if it's had at least 3 seasons.
Yes, it's true. So we can't wait. We can't wait. Yeah, that's when we're bowl eligible. For us. So that's why we haven't done Succession. They just finished the 3rd season, so we weren't able to do that yet. So it's a good point. Shows like HBO's Luck. No, we can't do Luck. We can never do How to Make It in America unless we make a special. You
can't do Kelsey Grammer's Boss.
No. Hey, I might have to make a special. Under the Chicago clause. under the Chicago clause, that might. Isn't that so good? That show was so good. Woo. Boss. Man, that was a special show.
It was.
That was a special show.
Yeah, man.
And look, Ozark ripped the look of Boss tremendously. I don't know if you noticed the blue tint on many things there. Very, very Ozark like. But I just shout out to Ozark. Shout out to anybody making this art. But
that is a great segue, Joe. Because what are you watching? What are you watching nowadays?
I'll start with Reese, man. Let's start with Reese.
Reese, all right. What are you watching?
Okay, so tonight I just watched part 2 of Kanye's documentary, Genius, and it was really good. It's a lot of footage. It's a lot of homemade footage, and you forget with all the zany stuff that Ye is doing right now, or whatever his name is at the current date. You forget that he was a regular, hungry, just. I got to get my name out there. I got to get on by any means necessary. I'm rolling up in studios and stuff like that. So it's good to go back and see like just how hungry he was to become an artist and not just a producer. So I'm trying to think what else did I watch? Clearly Ozark. I blew through that.
Okay.
I think those are the 2 main things. I'm sure you guys are going to say some stuff that I'm watching also, but just watched the 2nd episode of Genius.
Gotcha. How about you, Joe?
I watched Genius before. So like Reese, I watched the 1st episode of Genius before All Star on Sunday.
Okay.
A lot of the footage was in the Through the Wire video. I'd seen that. I'd seen I was wondering, like, how does he have this archival footage of himself in the Through the Wire video? But now I get it, and there is some genius in knowing I'm going to be this big that I'm going to have a documentarian following me around. Shout out to Cootie. But I really liked it. It was raw. He's not much off in age from us. So going through so many of the similar things at the same time is really interesting to look back and see that time. So I really enjoyed it. Now I know there's season 2. I'm watching the after party on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
Really loving that with my main man Sam Richardson and so many great actors. But Tiffany Haddish, Sam Richardson, and oh gosh, John, I can't think of my man's name, but John Ralphio from Parks and Rec, who was also on House of Lies or whatever it was called. But watching that, and I'm watching Abbott Elementary.
Yes,
and I'm caught up with Abbott Elementary. There was a Morehouse reference this past episode, but caught up on that. Really, really nice little show. And I hope that it's getting its legs. It's killing it in ratings. I think the Hulu partnership is helping them out a lot. But in addition to that, I'm on a binge right now in The Wire. I'm in season 4, and school just started. We're at Tillman Middle, man. And Tommy Carcetti's. You should be. Tommy Carcetti's got 2 weeks to go before the primary. Okay. And so he's pissed off.
He's got Randy out there giving out flyers and such and paper.
Almost. Okay. Almost. And I know what's coming. So it's like this is the part where on season 1 it was fun. Season 2, I love season 2. I've talked to you about that. Season 3 is probably, I think, some of the best work they did. And I know what's coming in season 4 and 5, man. I'm just I'm not as motivated because I know how sad I'll get to watch the decline of some of those characters, but and the redemption of others. But that's what I'm on. What about you, Killa?
So I'm catching up on Fargo again, or not? Well, okay, I'm catching up on Fargo, and the reason I'm catching up on Fargo is I found a really good podcast by this site Bald Move. So they reviewed a lot of and it's in real time. So these are old episodes. They were watching it like they were recording the next day. And it's bringing a whole new light to some of the things I never really paid attention to in Fargo. And this will be probably my 6th full rewatch of Fargo because I love Fargo. So rewatching that. I'm doing a quick binge also of Ozark to try to catch up because my mom binged all of Ozark in one weekend. Unbelievable. Including the new episodes. Right. So shout out to Pat for doing that. She has a predilection for spoiling. So I want to make sure that
this is a defensive binge.
This is a defensive binge because Patricia Smith, I love her to death, but she will throw out a random spoiler. So I need to make sure I catch up before too long and get on the exploits of Marty Bird and his family and Ruth and whatnot. So there's that. And then I'm back and happy about the first 2 episodes of Snowfall. They hit the ground running, and woo is all I can really say. I mean, it was just amazing. The first, I don't really believe in, I know that in the age of the internet, spoilers abound. I don't want to reveal anything to anybody other than, it's right there where you expect it to be. So yeah, man.
I'm also watching The Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah. I got like 3 episodes into this season. I gotta get back. Is it over?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. The last episode I watched could have been the end, but I feel like it might be one more or something.
I watched Danny McBride. I pretty much do anything. I mean,
Eastbound and Down, whatever. he's
whatever.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Whatever. I'm also watching Gilded Age on HBO. I'm watching that one with my wife. Produced by the great Sally Richardson. It's the prequel. It's a prequel to Downton Abbey. So it is a very acquired taste, brother. So if you ain't into upstairs downstairs and all that, it's interesting. It's interesting. and they throw some blacks in the mix. So it's interesting how they recreated New York in the 1882. By the way,
nice.
Think about it. Spellman was 1 year old, and Morehouse had just moved to Atlanta 3 years prior.
Rockefeller money.
Yeah, well, yeah, Rockefeller. I mean, and this is about the new people, as they call them.
Yeah,
the new people.
Yeah.
So,
Joe, by the way, you'd be super proud of me because I knocked out a whole season. I knocked out a whole season of Silicon Valley as well.
So, I am proud of you. Welcome. Welcome to the China Club.
I laughed twice. I didn't like it.
Okay.
But
then don't.
But I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. If you
don't like it, let it go.
No, I'm gonna tell you, when I laughed, it was hilarious when they were doing the mathematical about, like, basically about when you line up two guys, and that part was hilarious to me. But at any rate, I want to see what happens with Pied Piper, so I'm gonna hang in there.
I enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it, Reese?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't split your side. It was just a dry nerd humor.
Yeah. That's perfectly stated.
Yeah, it's very, very dry nerd. I'm gonna tease you with my
as could be expected.
Yeah,
sure.
Especially coming from Mike Judge too, so it's kind of like,
okay. I think that's why I was kind of, I don't know, man, because I love Idiocracy, I love Office Space, I love King of the Hill, and so like it's at the bottom of those rankings so far. But again, I know it's a lot going on, but
he took a satirical look at the time, if you notice as seasons go on, the intro changed a little bit, and the companies, there's something to be said now that you're watching it after it's done. You can go back and read all this stuff about the intro and how the size of a building or their little thing, like I think the Uber was small and then like Lyft was big or something like that, and they're bouncing up next to each other, or Oracle is off the side, or then one of them like because I think it was anyway. And these apps, they're bubbles, man. They burst. So it's
I
really
like stuff like that. Because Game of Thrones,
that's just the intro.
Game of Thrones
did do that.
The intro, like if the Starks were running Winterfell, then the Stark sizzle was there. Yeah,
but something was on fire. It was on fire on the map.
Yeah.
It was like burned out.
So you and Rich will both be happy. My boss, Rich Fremont. By the way, I arranged for Joe and Rich to have a FaceTime together the other day.
Shout out to Rich. Shout out to Rich
Fremont.
And what was his movies? What's his movies?
Midnight Run and Dave. Midnight Run and Dave.
Man after my own heart. Put that.
All right. So guys,
especially Dave.
Faithful listeners / viewers, you will note that, and especially if you're viewing, you'll note that we don't have backgrounds for Moonlight, and we don't have our main man Derek DC Cameron with us today. And so we need to tell you, life happens, things happen. We've neglected to remember this is Joe's busy period at work. This is my I don't really have an excuse other than I made some fish that put me into a comatose state. But so and then Derek is in Europe right now. He's in Rome. When in Rome, it actually applies to him literally right now. So
God bless.
Yeah, God bless indeed, man. So but we promise you guys we will get back and cover Moonlight. Harlem Nights, I don't know, we probably will at some point. My man Ray Herring, I know he wanted to talk about it. I know Reese wanted to talk about it as well. I don't know if we should arrange for a death match between Ray and Reese.
I'm all about Thunderdome. You know that. You know how I get down. I will Jawan Howard somebody if I need to.
Hilarious for all the right reasons. So, but anyway, we will come back to those movies just like we will come back to The Breakfast Club. Iman, I haven't forgotten about you. We'll come back to these movies, but
don't you forget about me. Don't you forget about me.
Exactly. How fitting. How fitting. How perfect. So, but tonight we are going to cover a movie that just about every Black person except for Reese had seen, but now Reese is in the number. We are covering.
Praise God. Praise God.
We are covering the the Steven Spielberg directed. The
Quincy Jones.
Based on the Quincy Jones score and soundtrack,
and executive
produced, and the source material from the great Alice Walker. We are covering our Spellman sister, Alice Walker. God bless her. We are covering The Color Purple tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Color Purple. So the novel written in 1982, the film released in 1985. Joe, before I get to you and when you saw it, Reese, how did you manage to avoid this film for so long?
Okay, so I'll tell you. I'll tell you why. It was purposeful. For most people don't know what I do for a living. They think I just do T-shirts or act a fool on the internet, but or occasionally on a TV show.
And you do those things well, by the way.
I mean, so I heard. But most of my career has been, therapist, and I've done work in family violence. So when I tune on to TV or movies, I'm not trying to see anything real heavy. I don't do movies about slavery. I don't do movies about prison. I don't do, anything that's going to upset me, because I get enough of people getting, beat and tortured at work.
Okay.
So when I see a movie on TV or a TV show, it's like a spidey sense. I'm like, that looks like some content I don't want to see.
Sure.
And this Color Purple always gave me that, not slavey, but like after, it was a bad time for us. So I was like, nah, I don't think this is going to be something I need to view. And it did not disappoint.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reese.
It did not disappoint.
Spot on.
You do for the Open Tabs podcast, brother. All right, well, that's the
beauty of the Spidey sense, though. That's the beauty of the Spidey sense. It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hate to have you follow that up, Joe, but so talk to me about your journey with the film, Joe.
So it was released in December of '85, I believe, or it was December or November of '85. I went with my dear mother, to see it in probably February of '86. February or March. I need to find out exactly the date, because
so I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, please tell me that.
So limited release December 18th, like LA and New York and all these, and then wide release February 7th, 1986. So it very well probably coincided with the wide release.
Okay. And the reason I was interested in February, at least, right? Okay. The reason I was asking about that is because when I went to see it, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there. And so and the reason I'm trying to find out exactly when that was, so that I could find the date. I didn't think about it until this very moment. So I was going to look up when the Mavs played the Lakers, but Kareem was there, all 7 feet of Kareem in the lobby in 1986. I lost my ever-loving shit, and he signed like a napkin for me. Okay, I had read the first chapter of The Color Purple. At that point, I was 11. I was 11 years old. I read the first chapter. I didn't understand it at all. And then I went to go see it with my mother. I didn't understand what I was watching. And in all sincerity, it's a blur. It was a blur. Okay. But I was able to. But and at 11, and the Oscars were always a big deal to me. At 11, it was going to win it all, because that's the movie I saw, and that's the one with all the Black people in it, and it was like 12 nominations. And there was something my dad said that should have just stuck with me, but I didn't know any better. He said, "Yeah, boy, but they didn't nominate the director." Okay. And when he said that, I'm like, "Huh?" He said, "Yes, son, let me tell you, if they don't nominate the director, it's a good chance it's not going to win. And, you know, I'm 11, like, you break my heart like this, but he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. So, but I did enjoy it. I didn't understand a lot of it. Much like Reese said, there was so much violence and dark blood. I've never seen blood that dark in a movie. Not even like I think Rocky 4 was like Rocky 4 was maybe Fall 85. I think it was 85. And I remember blood, but it was a little more, you know, Cairo syrupy, as opposed to between Drago and Rock, and definitely Apollo. But this was a lot for me at 11 years old. And I begged to go, and I got what I asked for. And so, but later I read it summer of 11th grade, and it was one of the most amazing books I'd ever read in my life. And then I was angry at the movie for years. I mean, for years, I was angry at the movie. And this is going to come up in our discussion, but I was 11 years old, 1986, Prestonwood Center 1 and 2. That's where I saw.
I did some digging for you, Joe. So in 1986, February 26th was a Wednesday, and the Dallas Mavericks played the Lakers. They lost 119 to 116.
We wouldn't have gone on a Wednesday, but that
he may have been around for that week though, or that week.
That brother was in. I'm telling you this. That brother was in town.
Yeah, that
brother was in the lobby. I don't know why we would have gone on a Wednesday or a Thursday. We wouldn't have been a Thursday. We wouldn't have missed the Cosby Show. So
it probably was that weekend. Yeah,
it might have been, but I know he was there.
Yeah,
so it was crazy, man.
For sure,
crazy.
For sure. So for me, this is a pretty, and I hope my mom doesn't get too mad at me for saying these things that my dad said. But these are things my dad said. So my dad really hates this movie. And this is a big deal for us. We watched this movie on tape in Mississippi. So it had to have been like later that summer. Whenever the VHS release occurred, and my grandparents had the card that you go to the Comcast store and get the videotapes in Meridian, Mississippi. So my father blames this movie for the pending divorce of he and my mom, and saying that
The Color Purple,
he was identified as Mr. and that, you know, my grandma was like, see how Mr.'s doing, like, you know, and yada yada. And so for years and years and years, my dad would just curse this movie, yada yada. Okay. You know, and I saw it in the same setting that my mom and them. Obviously, I wasn't privy to the grown folks talk. I didn't, you know, if the grown folks were talking, I wasn't listening to that. But we watched it as a family in Meridian, Mississippi, together. I remember that very vividly. I remember this is one of the very first Oscar seasons, because I think this is up against like Out of Africa and Gandhi and a couple other things, right?
It was at least Out of Africa. It was Redford and Street.
Yeah, so we watched the movie, or we watched that Oscars as well, and you know, like your father, my father also was very skeptical about any chances that this film had of winning, and you know, he was correct in that assessment. But just the fact that there were so many of us nominated, and I know we're gonna get to it again later, but you know, they didn't nominate enough people from the film, really, if you want to be honest. The performances was just outstanding to me in this film. But yeah, man, it was taboo in our home. And then, you know, my mom had the book as well, being a Spelmanite.
Of course.
So
Spelmanite.
There you go, class of 75. So I read the book probably around 10th or 11th grade. And was, again, like you, Joe, very disappointed, I think was my overall sentiment at the translation from book to film, in terms of like the beauty of the book, the way the book was written, you know, in the form of epistles, in the form of letters written from Nettie to Celie. You know, it just was striking to me. And I know that what Spielberg was trying to do couldn't accomplish that, you know what I mean? And then the story, the love story of the book, just totally missed. And you know, I mean, we can I'm sure we'll hash that out as well. But the way that was illustrated in the book was just phenomenal to me. It was new for me to experience and to read about love in that fashion. but certainly was something that it resonated with me. Like, man, you know, and I think a part of the humanity that I continue to have, you know, in terms of medicine and everything like that, was from some of the negativity from that book, but also from the love in that book. That in spite of all circumstances, someone like Celie could find love, and true love at that. And you know, in spite of everything, we as a people tend to rise up. So that was, you know, for me, that was that. And then eventually I came back around to it, and you know, I've had my years of looking at it through a lens of an unintentional comedy, and I've come back around on, like, you know, that's kind of an immature thought process in terms of looking at it. But I mean, there's some intended comedy in the film as well. And I think my last viewing of it, I definitely was able to kind of parse through and say, okay, well, you know, I mean, and then we can kind of talk about whether that's a good or a bad thing about the film. But I think that, you know, certainly there was some levity there. And for us as a people, how we deal with trauma, I think there's something to be said about it. But at any rate, that was mine. So yeah,
that was a lot. That was a lot. So I can imagine a slight stigma with this film. So it's interesting. It's interesting. We all kind of coming at it. Look, Reese hadn't watched it for good reason, right? Because he wants to be anywhere else but work. He don't want to sit there and watch work on screen. Understood. Yeah. Not triggering, but understood. Again, I was angry after reading the book. I was angry at the film for years. The movie itself, not the music, not all that, but the movie itself. Yeah. And then you coming with the real life part there as well. That so we're all coming with skepticism. Skepticism, looking at it, side eyeing this film. Yeah. Which at the time you couldn't tell Black people, boy, if you could not tell Black people that this was not our thing, for us, by us, when actually it was directed by Spielberg. Oh yeah. But for us, by us, all the way. So it's very interesting. 30 some odd, 30 so almost 40 years later. It's very interesting. Yeah. Those takes on that. I looked up the Oscar stuff, but we'll get into that. I looked up that stuff. We'll definitely get into that. Okay. Didn't win a 1. I think it's nominated for 8. It didn't win narrow one.
Tragedy. So Joe, what little things stood out to you in the film?
The kids. Where the hell were all these kids?
Damn it. I had that one queued up. I was like, where are these kids coming from?
Go back and forth. Hey, look.
Dude, I counted when he was throwing the sister out and he was beating the hands on the post. It was 12 kids there. I was like, he had 3. Where are the rest of these kids coming from? And they were throughout the movie. It was always little kids.
Constant children there. And among all this violence and degradation and just oppression and abuse, there were just children running freely, just living the absolute best life, which is, I don't know if that was like the saving grace, of the people or whatever, or Mr. Like, I have no problem. You have children all running all through the house. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to have children running all through the house. We're going to feed the children. We're going to clothe the children. We're going to take care of the children, all that. But there's children everywhere. And I know Mr. had 3. She had 2 of her own. Her 2 are gone. But then there just kept being children. And then even later, when I knew they had grandchildren, even later for the Easter scene, the big scene, the Easter scene, there's kids all around the table. Yeah. Like, I guess they're Harpo's kids. So Harpo's kids are a little older. So like, I was thinking it's Harpo's and Squeak's kid. Harpo and Sophia's kids are a little older. So Harpo and Squeak, they had their own children too. So maybe that's who those other kids were. But man, there were children running freely through Mr.'s house. Another little thing for me was Mr.'s house was changed. Okay, unless they just were 2 sides to it and I just didn't figure it out. It changed like once or twice. So when he was between Nettie and Sophia, it's got like that I don't know, that porch there, and where he gets shaved. But then when they pull up in the car, it had like columns. I think there was a back and a front. It must have been a back and a front. Because actually, when she first pulled up, when he was on horseback and she was walking, and they first came up, there were columns to the house. So maybe I'm thinking something else. But to me, the house changed. One other little thing for me was just the country/town relations. I thought that was interesting, and the fact that their lives really didn't intersect with white folks, except with the mailman. They didn't really have to intersect with white people in Eatonton, where they were. So I thought that was pretty interesting to me. And of course, I love the costumes, and I think they were nominated for costume design. But I love the costumes as well.
Yeah. What about you, Reese? Besides the kids,
I'm gonna bring up the kids again. Okay. Because the one thing that I noticed that Joe didn't point out was the spacing of the houses. So it wasn't like neighborhood kids and they're across the street, they could just come over. Okay. Like wherever these kids were coming from, they had to walk a good distance to get to gather at Mr.'s house. And like Joe said, with all the violence and negativity going on, why is that the hangout place? Like why is that?
Maybe because Celie could cook. Maybe because Celie was cooking. Maybe Celie was cooking well or whatever. They were kicking it over there.
Yeah, but throughout the movie, it was just kids everywhere, and that was weird to me.
Yeah.
My second little thing was how I guess it was commonplace that you could have your wife and then your well-known other woman, like so it was like Harpo had his wife and he's at the juke joint with Squeak, and then Oprah shows up, and I'm gonna go between real names and movie names, but Oprah shows up with her dude, and Harpo takes her off his lap, like, let's go dance. And I was like, that would not happen today. Well, like
it ended about like how it would though.
Well, only because that dude was happy and content to sit there and talk while his lady, or what he thought was his lady, was dancing with her husband.
Sure.
And then
they had a kid.
Yeah.
She's holding a baby. There wasn't Harpo's.
Okay. Yeah, and then he has Squeak, and then then you have Mr. and Suge, and as Adolph Caesar says, is a special woman. Let your husband's hoe lay up in the house. Like, I was just
you asked my condolences. You asked my condolences.
Yeah, it was just that just blew my mind how they would go back and forth. Where okay, well, that's my wife, that's my husband, that's my lady, da 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 da. And
it was understood.
Yeah,
it was like, it was and expected and like affirmed or confirmed. Like, that's fine.
It was just like nobody batted an eye. It wasn't like maybe divorces were super expensive. Maybe it didn't exist yet. I don't know. But it was just like, we're gonna take a break, and I got this other person. Even when Suge came back with her husband.
Yeah.
And they had a full conversation at the table. He's like, I had her, you had her, we had her together. I was like, nope.
and Reese, when they're looking for the letters and they find like his picture, his nudes, that he had in his special place, right?
Don't even look like me.
That don't even look like me. Like, why do you care? You've got, I was married now. She told her daddy, right? Yeah. If you're married to Grady, what does it matter?
Yeah.
But as in the words of Ursher, there's always that one person.
Yeah.
They
always have your heart.
They were intertwined. They were intertwined.
Entanglements.
Entanglements upon entanglements.
Shout out to Jada Pinkett.
And my last one, which should be my first one, which was Joe, you mentioned the word triggered. Dude, the intro to the movie, when we get into incestuous pedophilia, I was like, what am I watching? How is this a celebrated movie? People watch this multiple times. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? He get on top of me and do his business. Like, I had on all the pearls and clutched every one of them. I was like, what is this? What am I watching?
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was mortified, and I don't use that word all. I was just like, what is this?
It's appropriate usage.
It is.
And I was like, yeah, I powered through for you guys, because you guys asked me to watch it, but I was like, oh my God. Like,
thank you.
I feel like I'm gonna hit the website and probably buy about 5 shirts after this, Reese. Thank you. Really.
Like, my goodness. Like, and shout out to Lindsey Hunter. Not the basketball player, but my classmate.
Yes. Whitney Young's on.
Yeah, Whitney Young, Spelman's fine. She called me. She had a question to ask me, and I was like, I got a question to ask you. I know that you like this movie. Tell me why, because I don't get it, because this was horrible. And her viewpoint was, it's the resilience, the glow up afterwards. And she was like, the movie didn't do it. I think Calvin was saying this. The movie didn't do her Celie's glow up as well as it could be.
The book. Yeah, the book was far more.
And I was like, okay, I'll have to take your word for it, because no amount of glow up at the end is gonna undo. I had 2 babies. They were taken from me. Like what the hell, man? 2 babies by what I thought was my daddy. Like,
yeah. My paw ain't my paw.
My paw ain't my. Oh yeah. Then they cleaned it up and then my paw ain't my paw. I'm like, bro.
The mental anguish is already done, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's that Woody Allen shit.
Yeah.
Well, he raised you.
So for me, I really particularly enjoyed the geography and some of the conundrums created by the geography of the movie. So this film is based. The book itself is based on Alice Walker's childhood home, which is Eatonton, Georgia. Okay. Mm-hmm. Eatonton, Georgia is near Milledgeville, which is like in the middle of the state. That's where the state mental institution is. It's also the 4-H camp, Rock Eagle, a lot of great things, and not so great things.
Ben Roethlisberger down there in Milledgeville. That's where he got in trouble with young girls. Yes. I also was served a No Limit burger in Milledgeville when I was in high school. We went down there for a Quiz Bowl tournament, and the dude from Wendy's was like singing No Limit songs, and so we called it a No Limit burger. But anyway, Milledgeville is it's the middle of Georgia. Okay, now old Mister says that Suge Avery set the population of Hartwell County a new high. Okay, and the film, like, they mentioned Hartwell County a bit, right? You can even see it on the addresses, and if you look at the letters. Okay, Hartwell County, on the other hand, is very close to the South Carolina border near Albany, like Hart County, Hartwell, Georgia. That's very far away from Milledgeville. Okay, from Eaton. So there's that aspect of it, and then on top of everything else, if you notice the winters, there's a pretty significant amount of snow that occurs in this film. Okay, like there's a full-blown snowstorm when Celie's giving birth. Like there's snow on the ground when she's Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
Yep.
Like, and all 3 of us spent. Joe, you still in Georgia? Reese, you spent a significant amount of time in Georgia.
Yeah.
It's not snowing like, and in middle Georgia, and Georgia near.
It's far more tropical.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. So like it's a little weird for me, to see and to try to piece it, because I'm a geography guy. I like I'm over here talking about how, and Joe, you probably you'll take umbrage to this, but I'm trying to parse out this Ukraine thing that's going on, and I'm trying to explain to people that Ukraine is essentially Texas for Russia. If Texas has seceded, that kind of deal. Yeah. It's a loose analogy, Joe. Forgive me, but
that's fine. That's fine.
Geography matters to me, and that kind of thing. So it was really weird for me. The other thing that was great for me was the evolution of music and how music was shown in this film. And I know we have a whole section we'll talk about music for the film, but I really want to point out, the juke joint and the role of the juke joint and the blues. And if you listen to the lyrics of the blues in the background, or like for me, like here lately, I've put everything on subtitles, even though I'm sharing my Disney Plus account with my cousin Steve, and he keeps turning the subtitles off. I turn them back on when I'm watching. I like to hear and read everything that's going on, right? And so like they play the lyrics to these songs that are playing in the background, like do me, baby, all this stuff. And like, you know, the lyrics to the song that Sugar singing at the beginning of the juke joint scene, the first juke joint scene, where she's you know, like that. I mean, it's raunchy as hell. It reminds me of when Shoni, shout out to Shoni, man. I hope Shoni's still listening, man. Shout out to Shoni, because she posted some lyrics from like a song. She was talking about how basically how self-righteous we get about you know, lyrics to songs nowadays, and how we get on these high horses about how nasty the songs are. But she found a song from the 20s that was as raunchy as anything that Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B could ever write. You know what I mean? But this is what they were doing in the background of these areas. You know what I mean? Like these juke joints. That's what it was about. You know what I mean? So like we've had this stuff for a long time, and I love when they incorporate like the history of music and the period pieces get it right about the kind of music that's going on. I really enjoyed that, and I thought they nailed that. And I think it's I mean, of course, with Quincy Jones in the background, they're gonna nail it. You know what I mean? But they certainly, you know, they didn't let that slip at all. In the gospel as well, didn't let it slip at all. It was perfect. That was one thing that they really nailed, and to the point that, you know, it translates very well to the musical that came out later on. And I don't know, Joe, did you ever see the musical?
Yep, saw it on Broadway.
I never saw it, but I imagine was it pretty true to form as far as?
Oh yeah, it's true to form. It was outstanding. Obviously, they got some new music in there, you know, because you know you take it from book to film to stage. They got some new music in there, but it was a musical. I mean, so yeah. And they made new songs based on the original script, the original text.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest song was "Hell No," when it was basically saying "Don't hit me anymore." You know, "Hell No" was the big takeaway song from it. And you know, Oprah just cast a new live action version of the
musical
of the musical they're going to shoot for film.
Yeah.
So on film.
Taraji P. Henson and among others.
As Shug Avery, yes. So I look forward to that.
Yes. Reese, I see. I hope that when it goes live on video that folks can see the head shake that Reese, the vigorous head shake from Reese here.
Nah.
I'm good, player. One and done, baby.
One and done.
Nah, you got two because I watched it the first time, like right after Calvin was like, "Hey man, I want you to do this one." I was like, "Okay." I watched it then. And then I watched it again last night to get ready for tonight. And
yeah. Still feel the same. Still feel it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And
I watched it last night too to get ready for tonight because I hadn't seen it. I probably hadn't seen it all the way through in like about 10 years. So I watched it last night on HBO Max, where it's currently streaming.
Yeah.
With these same Beats by Dre headphones in. Yeah. And there were scenes when talk about the little things, Calvin. You talk about geography, the buzzing of the insects and stuff. Yeah. I at some point I jerked because I thought I was like, where did this fly come? Like it's a massive fly coming in. I hadn't had that happen since True Blood. While watching True Blood, okay. but that was another thing. Obviously, they wanted you to know it was hot. And they wanted you to know it was cold. So they were serious about that weather too. Yeah. They're very serious about the weather.
For sure. So Reese, I'm interested. I want to kind of, Joe, can we audible a little bit on Unsung Heroes?
Always. Go ahead.
Reese, I want to know what you thought about the characters just in general, man. Like, were there any redeeming characters for you in the film?
Redeeming characters. So I think it was, you know, if I'm thinking about the time and I'm thinking about who did what, I think it was well done. You know, it was just all the characters had so many weird twists. If they were going, I'm married over here, but this is my dude over here, and it was just weird. And then it was, I want to say, every time I go to say somebody was a redeeming person, then I remember something else that they did, and I'm like, wait, no, wasn't that person. But I guess you would have to say Celie. I mean, you know, her
art was probably more satisfying than anybody else's. Would you say that?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, she went through a whole lot, you know, and then in the end, and let me just say something. As a therapist, a person in, you know, the field that I do, that don't happen.
Okay.
You don't go through childhood trauma like that.
Yeah. And come
out, you know, stronger than ever on the other side. You know, that arc usually goes into something really depressing and bad. But so for a story, yes, you know, she eventually found herself and, you know, had the courage to stand up to her abuser and be like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. Yeah, and that just doesn't happen. But the other characters, and like trigger was a good word, because like they locked Oprah up for like what, years? Years, for
at least 8 years.
8 years. 8 years.
Like she had to be introduced to her kid.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, hey, I am so and so. Like, yeah, you came out of me. I know who you are. Like, you don't know who I am, but you know, she did a bid, and then she was like catatonic, comatose, and her coming out of that at dinner over a laugh. That don't happen like that. But it just don't, Joe. It just don't.
Yeah, I believe you. You're the subject matter expert. I believe you.
You're not having. Was that Thanksgiving at that point, or was that Christmas?
That was Easter.
It was Easter. Okay, yeah. You're not having a laugh over Easter dinner. You're like, okay, well, I just shook off that trauma, past the peas. I'm good.
We need some stability around here.
Thank God.
Some stability around here. Old folk feel back.
So I would say Celie, and I guess the next, satisfying one would be Suge. Like, you know, she clearly she was a woman about town. And her father did not appreciate that as the pastor. And
can we touch on the stereotype of the PKs, man? You know, like
that was in there. Like, you know, she was buck wild. She turned everybody in Mister's house out.
Still.
I was saying, when they both were excited for her coming, they both got out of bed like, Suge. I was like, man. But she got married, and you know, she eventually was able to come back to the church, and she came back, man. She came back and got Celie and Tweak got them up out of there, man. And, so those two.
Okay. Joe, before I get to you, I did something, and I want to bounce this off of you and Reese as well. You know, like, one of the criticisms of the movie from certain circles is that it bashes men. Okay. For me personally, I think that, you know, if at the expense of making strong, fleshed out female characters, that this movie doesn't have good male characters, I'm all with it. I'm okay with that. I think that, you know, I don't think it necessarily bashes men as much as it shows more of a realistic portrayal of, at least with some hyperbole, at least of what men were doing in those eras. Okay. So for me, I'm totally okay with the portrayal of the men in the film. It's not, I mean, where's the lie in a lot of it? You know what I mean? So with that being said, I did try to rank the trash rankings.
I'm curious.
You only do this when I'm on, because we did this for what other movie?
Waiting to Exhale? Did we do
it? Which ones were the trashiest, man?
All right. Well, here we are again. I mean, you know,
message.
Like we never left.
Whatever. Yeah. But I mean, truly, like, I mean, these dudes are trash. All right. So I painstakingly, Joe and Reese, I wrote it down in my
I'm curious.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, all right. So Paul Harris, number one, easily. All right. That's Celie's dad.
Okay.
Celie's dad.
Yeah, he's the worst person
easily
in the world.
You know what I mean? Like, had his way probably with, I mean, he tried to have his way with Nettie, had his way with Celie, was a
on
dog.
top of
way.
And let me ask this point of clarification. Celie wasn't his kid.
No.
He said that she married him when she was 2, but Nettie was his kid. So it was incestuous pedophilia coming no matter what.
No matter what. Right. Easily number one. All right. Now here's where it starts to get murky for me. Okay.
Wait. Before you say it, you know who that guy was?
Mr. Redmond from Hoodlum.
Yes.
my splits.
And he was also in Car Wash. He was the guy, like he did that little thing in the Car Wash.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. No, hey man, hey, Leonard Jackson.
And he's in Boomerang.
Yes.
Was he
the perfume guy?
He's Lloyd.
He's Lloyd.
Yeah.
Marcus, you're a devil. It's the devil. Marcus touches his face and he goes like this. He goes like this.
Elizabeth Taylor would not have rubbed her panties in my face.
We don't know, Lloyd. I can ask her, Lloyd. It's Lloyd.
Wow.
He got range, baby. He's got range. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, hey, bring the heat, baby. I love it. All right. So pause number one easily. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, Albert Johnson, aka Mr. versus his pops, old Mr. Now, old Mr. is the reason that Albert was who he was. Okay.
Yeah.
But we don't have, besides him talking real bad to people, we don't actually get to see his physical violence. We don't get to see him separating sisters, beating hands off a post, trying to seduce while doing the crazy little horseback ride tricks. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see.
He got dressed up for that.
He did.
He put on a suit to pursue this little girl. She went to school.
Yeah.
To go sexually assault her in off a
as
road.
I say all of these things, then Albert is easily number two. Okay, Albert Johnson. And then and on top of that, he separated. He had the letters along with the news that don't look nothing like the pre-Pornhub, the pre-incognito browser. Like he had his Morehouse trunk.
His trunk. Yeah. What you gonna do?
You hope that it stays locked during the dorm inspection. So, all right. So Albert's number two. All right. Now, and then old Mr. I think is number three. Okay. Now here I have Harpo, but I have two incarnations of Harpo. I have absolutely evil pre-Sophia Harpo, the one that hit Celia upside the head with a rock and gave her menacing looks and stares throughout his childhood. That tried to beat Sophia, that version of Harpo.
After she told her to. Yes,
because she did tell him to. She did tell him. Yes. She did tell him to. But I want to come back to post Sophia Harpo because I think he, something happened with him. Okay. I have next Suge's daddy, the preacher, Reverend Samuel. Now, I think he probably tried, but he basically disowned his daughter.
Yep. She got that nasty woman's disease. Yes.
They got legs like baseball bats. Nappy hair.
Nappy hair.
Hey, old Mr. Desmond's game was on point, man. He's unparalleled. Yeah, he's like he's on the spade table. Anyway,
take that.
But Suge's daddy was I mean, like, he's less evil, more like, how they had that 9-bar like benevolent evil and neutral evil, that kind of thing. Have you seen those things before, Joe? I know Reese has seen these things before.
I think he was tired though. I think he was just tired. Like, man, I'm the pastor, and you are out here in the world.
Yeah,
acting a fool. I think he was tired.
A Puerto Rican hua. She was
not related. She was a hua, not related by blood. I'm sorry, Sopranos always creeps back in. Go ahead, Calvin.
Okay. So next, now we're starting to get into the more next I would put Henry Broad next, who was the gentleman behind me, who was Sophia's man, who all he does, he don't fight his woman's battles.
My mother said that night in the movie. So Reese, I will never forget that.
You got some disagreement. What's up?
Yeah, you got it. The mayor. He locked up. He got punched.
Fair enough. Yes.
He locked up Celie. I mean, he locked up.
Let's have a broad category actually for all the white men in the movie. It's like the store owner that's like, Gal, you done looking at
store
that?
Owner, Gal, you done looking at
that? I can't give store owner Gal because that he didn't use the other word. He just used Gal.
He was very respectful for the time.
Okay, maybe he's like 7 B's.
And then the what am I trying to say? The mailman.
The mailman was straight.
Okay. I guess we cannot lump all the white men together
because he gave the sister a ride.
Yeah, that's true. and they liked him enough to give him the pie and keep the plate. You know what I mean? Like
Okay. No. I get you got to throw the mayor in there because he clearly took that punch and then put her in prison. Or jail for.
So the mayor goes down in pre-Sophia Harpo range. Like he's
a horrible person.
Horrible guy. All right. Next, I have Suge's husband Grady. Okay. I think Suge's husband Grady, relatively benign. I mean, he does commiserate with Mr. about, having had, Suge, and but he takes Celie with him. He seems like a decent enough guy. Okay.
And he's got the best tan suits I've seen in khaki suits, and so that man was clean, Jack.
He was clean. Well, him and old Mr. Clean as hell.
Yeah.
Old Mr. was clean as hell. But
he said goodbye.
I don't want to make old Mr. a hero because, like, from a comedy standpoint, he is a hero for me. But all else, no. Okay.
I love that he came back in and said goodbye after all the fallout of the dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Y'all have salted the earth. What did he say? He called salted earth or something?
He called it salted earth when it was time to go.
Yeah.
Before Celie's scene. Before her soliloquy. But he did come back in. The last scene you see is the slick hair, and he was standing there in the doorway like, all right.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Y'all be
it was so it seemed like it was a bad take, and they just needed like another 5 seconds or 3 seconds. And then it was like, it wasn't that bad. Let's keep it in the movie. We're just gonna keep it in the movie. Because they're probably laughing.
So the one male in the movie who I thought was
I know who you're going with.
Circling back, the unsung hero of the movie is my main man, Lawrence Fishburne as Swain.
Yep, Swain.
He tried his best to get Miss Sophia to no, Miss Sophia, no. He helped. He tried to be a positive figure in Harpo's life. As much as we could see anyway. My main man, Swain, he was a decent guy.
And they were singing Sister or Celie's Blues.
Yeah.
And she stopped and she couldn't do it. And he understood.
Yeah.
He understood. That was her guitar man. And he understood and was just like, all right, let's go into church. Let's pivot. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Yeah. He was probably the most positive.
That almost invalidates his role as Ike Turner in terms of being a solid brother. Not really.
I don't know.
Vaughn Dunlap.
So I will challenge that for one moment.
Okay, hit me.
He sees that she's about to hit the mayor. And then he says no. She hits him. He leaves her. He goes and he gets the kids. She's like, get my kids out of here. It's just like, but you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And you leave this woman there.
Yeah.
And to your point, you said some people have said this is male bashing. Let me just stand up and say right now, this is a picture of some of the population of males. There are people in this world, men in this world, who are still doing all these things.
Yep.
Everything that was depicted in this movie, there are men that are still doing
incestuous pedophilia,
incestuous pedophilia, domestic violence, leaving women stranded, having your wife and your lady on the side, it is men out here still doing it. So I didn't see it as male bashing as much as I saw it as this is a honest portrayal of some men that are out there doing these things.
Yeah, agree. I totally.
Lawrence Fishburne took the kids, and sometimes you'll be in a situation where you have two choices, and somebody tells you the easier choice, and you're like, cool, I'll get these kids to get out of here because these white folks about to buck up, and I don't want to be here when they do. And he left.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't even think he left and went and told somebody else.
He just took the kids and got them safe.
Yeah.
Well, that tarnishes him a bit, So Joe, what do you think of those rankings, though? What do you think?
I agree with the rankings, though, because still on that hierarchy of means, then I mean you could swap him out with Grady then, because Grady didn't really do anything that we saw, and I cannot remember enough about Grady in the book to say. But we're talking about the movie.
He was a decent man in the book. He was
decent and he was decent in the movie. Yeah, they talked about old things like commiserated. That's just Eskimo brother talk, and maybe that's toxic. I mean, maybe it is, but I think that
the league.
Yeah. It's come on. Da 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 da. The more great Chicago show. No, I think you could swap Swain and Grady, but I feel you about Swain. And I definitely understand. I mean, that's why it's great to have psychologists with us here. Yeah. So I definitely understand when Reese's point, like that was the easy thing to do. Yeah. And then then the butt of the gun comes in and she's irrevocably, they just took the spirit out of her in one fell swoop. But I'm with you on the those rankings about just how horrible those guys were. I thought maybe Harpo's a little high because of the young Harpo. Maybe he's a little high, but he beat Sophia, so no. Yeah. So you know what I mean. But the we saw more of good Harpo than I think we did bad Harpo. Yeah. And he was raised by a father that was shit. What did she say? I wrote it down. Your daddy ain't nothing but some dead horse shit. So he was raised by a father that was dead horse shit. And and so Harper was gonna be sorry in the Lamont Sanford School of Sorry, he was gonna be sorry in that regard, like just like Lamont. And so I mean, remember he's like, you supposed to clean this. I did, Paul, but I couldn't get to the thing, Paul. He sounded like
that mold on the
But anyway, I'm still up to say I'm with you, and I don't really have an unsung hero, probably other than like Lindsay said, her resilience. Yeah, because there are so many ways that she could have just got out of this life. I mean, she could have taken her life. Yeah, she thought her sister was dead. She waited for a trip from Suge to bring the light back into her life again. You know what I mean? I mean, it just didn't. I think Celie's resilience to me was the unsung hero. Yeah. And the undercurrent of everything to me in the film. So I don't think it was male bashing though. I think when I was younger I probably did, but then I'm looking at it only from a male perspective as opposed to what Reese said. This is an accurate portrayal of things that men did then and that men do literally right now. So I don't know if that's bashing, but the thing that my mother
that's the incel / Dr. Umar take on it. Like
definitely. But I remember my mother being upset about so if you read the book, there is and you read the book, I read the book. There's a redemptive part. Yeah, I see. Reese said, "Hey, what the heck?"
You good, Reese?
Reese said,
did that, so hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that.
Yeah, to go through that, right?
Yeah.
So
thank you.
But the book ends. With everyone on the porch.
Yeah, including Mr.
and Mr. and Celie talking about possibly reconciling. Yeah. And she's saying something like, maybe I will, right? Maybe we will. At her special house, it was round. Remember, they built a house that was round, and it had all the light, all the wind chimes and all that. Yeah. And they reconciled. What did Spielberg do? Spielberg does during God's Trying to Tell You Something, he does a thing where Mr. goes out, gets the cash, gets them to come over, and Suge looks over in the field, sees him right there. Yeah. And he's looking at the exact same time Nettie's there because the houses were that close. Yeah. And that's the redemption for him. So you do right by me. That's the redemption for him. But
there's another part that I saw in the second take, which is when they're playing in the field as the credits roll.
Yeah, he walks by.
So he's like right there. So it's like
that was my last note. Reese. That's my last note. Yeah. I wrote Mr. even walks by while they're doing the hand games. Odd ending, very odd ending. I did not notice that
Spielberg
last night.
That's some Spielberg shit. That's like
it was like
flying past the moon.
At the end of American Gangster, there's a scene at the end of American Gangster where, well, if you see the extended cut where Frank gets out of jail and he's walking down the street by himself and he's got like a toe, he's got an interesting kind of walk because he's sick. And somebody they roll up on him and somebody's like, no, that's light, God. Like they realize like he was the man back in the day. There's like a respect there and they go the other way, or at the end of The Wire when Marlowe gets shot, like he tries to get shot, and he looks, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, respect there, and like this is the life that like the lives are passing you by. I kind of felt that was the weirdest. To me, that was odd. Sure. That he would then just walk by in the same field that he kept them from 40 years prior. 50 years prior, kept them from each other. It was just so odd to me, man. I don't know what to do with all that. I didn't know, but I'm saying, my mother was like, I can't stand the fact that they didn't have the redemption part that was in the book. And I'm like, Mom, well, it's a movie. Like there's only so much time, that you can put all that in there,
and it was long enough.
Yeah. But see, and to Reese's point, I mean, it ain't real. Yeah.
But that's where you gotta marry, realize that some things are gonna be left out. And so that that's one of the things that was left out.
Yeah.
Sure. They try to button it up in 24 seconds of flash of cutaways.
Yeah.
But it was what it was.
Sure.
You expecting somebody? No. And here they come.
Joe, all right.
And Suge is not married, by the way, when she's back. For some reason, she's back there in Eatonton with no ring on.
Huh.
In the movie, yeah.
You talking about the last scene?
Yes, sir. And Harpo's there. Harpo's there with Sophia. Nope. Harpo's there with Sophia. Squeak is there, and she does not have a ring on.
Huh.
She didn't have a ring on when she hugged her dad and hugs him.
Uh-huh.
Like literally doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
like, where you can see it. Yeah, and she hugs her dad, and see, Daddy, even sinners, whatever that line is.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Cal.
No, I was just gonna ask. All right, so I mean, this is a good segue to like real briefly, some of the differences from the novel that I thought were, I really wanted them to have more Africa. I don't know, I mean, I know that they didn't have very much time to talk about the letters that Nettie wrote, but like that story,
it was in the last third of the film.
It was the third act of the film. Like, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked more of Africa and more of Nettie's like journey. And I thought they did pretty well telling that story. Don't get me wrong. And I love the parallel scene with Mr. It's about to shave Mr. And the kids getting the tribal. Yeah. All of that. That was dope. But I still would have liked to have known more about that aspect, and that Adam and Olivia growing up in Africa, and not just an elephant coming out of the bush, you know what I mean? Like, show me Africa, you know what I mean? Like, I would have liked that more.
They blew the budget on the elephant.
Yeah.
That was probably from Ringling or on loan from the Atlanta Zoo, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because Africa was in Atlanta. I'm pretty outside of Atlanta. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they shoot this in Georgia? I think they shot this in Georgia.
Well, no, they shot a lot of it in North and South Carolina, actually.
Well, whatever. It was from one of them zoos.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. But I would have liked more of that. I don't know. So kind of moving on. Again, especially given Reese's take on it. Reese, were there some scenes like, I know you've heard about scenes in the film that, did they live up to the hype of what you thought, or were they funny at least to you, or like walk me through your sense of them?
So yeah, clearly you had the "Till You Do Right by Me" and the knife to his neck, and those scenes. I'll tell you, to be honest, like I'm watching the film, like after I get smacked in the face with the incestuous pedophilia, like I ain't right for the rest of the movie. Like I'm just watching like
that was enough. That was enough, right? Like okay.
I'm just like, what the hell is like? It's rare that you watch a movie and you think it's about one thing, and then it turns out to be something totally different, and now you're waiting to see what happens next. That's what this was. Like I'm like, okay, I don't really know what it's about. And then that happens, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay, let me be on my guard for the rest of whatever's gonna go on. So nothing else was really, the scenes didn't really live up to anything, because I'm waiting for something uber bad to happen.
Yeah.
When the little boy hit her in the head with the rock, Like, okay, I was like, all right, goddamn. Like, and then she has like this big bandage on.
Yeah.
But to Joe's point, like even those things that are unintentionally funny or levity or light, you don't get to even enjoy the rock upside the head because the very next scene is a sex scene. I'm like, oh my God, like what are we doing here? I'm like, how do you even shoot that like in studio? Like
it's rough.
That's rough. Like I feel like that is a whole. Let's sit down and have a little piece of coming to. Here's what we're about to do. Like anybody who needs to leave. And I don't even think they were doing that back then. Like it's just like
closed set.
Yeah, I don't even think they were doing it. So
that girl was probably about 14.
Yeah.
And Danny Glover was a grown ass man.
Yeah. Grown ass man. Yeah. So no, so it, I guess for me, Calvin, to answer your question, when it got to those scenes that are famous or infamous, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Gotcha.
But they've been run so much. For a person like me who hadn't seen it, you felt like you get the context, so you kind of knew coming in.
Sure.
I
got you. Joe, what scenes do you enjoy in the film, man?
So I realized why I didn't win Best Picture. I didn't understand at 11. The movie is like too comical.
Okay.
In certain points.
Okay.
And I understand, like Reese just said, let's give you some levity. But then it's blunt. Then you got a sledgehammer to the temple after the levity that you can't even enjoy the levity for a long time.
Sure.
Or it's like, were you taking this serious? This book is like deep as shit, right? Yeah. And then so what the writer did was then like, oh, we're gonna soften it up here and put a little glitter over here, and then a couple puffs of pixie dust here, and we're gonna give you this nice film with Black people in it. It's gonna be lush because Spielberg's gonna shoot it, and it's gonna be well directed and well acted, and that's what we're gonna do. And because Spielberg did it, and we have all these amazing performances from Black people, we'll get some awards. I think if they made that movie today, it would probably be true to the script, true to the text. So I'm saying that to go back to scenes, right? Okay. So the Suge and Celie, what happens? They kiss, and then we see her pearls. No, we're gonna see the scene. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Sure.
And then we're gonna understand the actual connection between the two of them. Yeah. Now, it was a bestseller, so most of the people that went to see the movie, they'd read the book. But most of the people who saw the movie had not read the book. Right. Okay, I mean, white folks, right? Right. So when it comes down to favorite scenes, obviously I love the Easter scene for old Mister when he says, "So you about to caboose." That was gonna be my senior quote. Yeah. In high school, on my page, on my graduation page, "Sweep out the caboose." My brother's was Karate Man Bruise on the inside. That was it. Or what time it is from school days as well. But so I love that scene. I love the initial scene in Harpo's, and when I got all these lines that I wrote down that I just love in the movie. Yeah. I'm just gonna run through it. You ain't my mama. Yeah. Obviously, you show is ugly. These are like in the lexicon of like Blackness at this point. Yeah. But he says, "Welcome to Harpo's. I'm Harpo." Like, okay, all right. Now Harpo's so proud that he had done something. Also, Bundini Brown was in Harpo's at the time. And he said,
shout out, we missed Bundini Brown in the Shaft episode.
I know. How can we miss Bundini Brown? And that's why that was one of the reasons I wanted to say it. And he said, you can catch a fish without a hook, girl. Yeah. What? I never heard that before. I get it. To me, my favorite scene is when she sings Miss Celie's Blues. I mean, that's my absolute favorite scene.
Nina and Shay, to this point.
Yeah, it's. I'm not gonna sing it. Don't worry.
Oh, you're not gonna sing it. Okay.
But no, sorry. And because there's so much that happens in it. Like she sings that, and then after that, you get Sophia that busts up in there with Broadnax. Yeah. Then you squeak, Harpo, who this woman? And then she said, you said this our juke joint. And whenever I watch with the family, ladies in the room would just die laughing. I was a kid, I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing at this? But like, and actually, I'm still married to you, but I'm also, yes, I'm with you, but I'm also married to her, and you're supposed to understand this. And like, what are you talking? It's so weird. Also, obviously, the last scene, and you talked about geography, and Reese talked about proximity. Okay, like there's not like so when you see the houses, they are what they are. The juke joint, less than half a mile from the church, just to show you. Actually, that should knock Harpo down. That should kick Harpo up the list. Actually, the juke joint this fool built was that close to the church.
What were the hours of the juke joint?
Bro, they're playing Sunday morning. You know how brazen you are?
Yeah.
Playing Sunday morning? That wasn't like Tuesday night midweek service or anything.
Yeah.
He was playing Sunday morning. So I love that scene. I also love when Sophia said hell no. When Sophia hit old boy, she's like, you want to be my maid? Hell no. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I love that.
But I love when you said earlier that they took her spirit, because they literally, like, she had a fighting spirit. I mean, all my life I had to fight, and he literally with the butt of that gun.
But I also want to say this: my other 1A favorite part, not scene, part in the film.
Okay.
Or she can't see because her eyes bad. Celie helps. Celie just takes the thing because she feels guilt. And has a good heart, but feels guilt. Helps her out in the store, and she's in the car. Celie does this. You chin up. That right there, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But that was the resilience I think that Lindsay's talking about. The Lindsay reference. That's the resilience right there. And like, we got to get through this. I mean, this is how we got to be here for each other. Keep your head up. Ever since I saw that scene, I've been doing that for people my whole life, ever since it. So those are the ones for me. Go ahead, Reese.
When you said that there was a line, there was a line that stuck with me when I guess Mister was trying to convince Paul to give the daughters. He said, my wife died, my kids are at home, they fighting, they bleeding, and they throwing up on the floor. I was like, wait a minute. What kids are doing things in that order? They're fighting, they're bleeding, and they're throwing up on the floor.
On the floor. And you get there, and it's like, what were you all eating?
Yeah, when Celie cleaned
how are you
with the rats, and like, I mean, it's food
on
the
floor. He left the crib on a regular day and came back and it was snowing. Continuity issues, by the way.
Yeah, and put his foot up on the a lot of
he was working in the field, man. He had to get that money.
You hit you hit the lines. I think one of the lines. It's gonna rain on your head when they had the leak in the house.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That shout out to Outkast for that homage there. What time to go? And right before
right before the fight broke out.
That's when the fight broke out.
And that's when the fight broke out. Exactly. Dwayne Wayne, baby. Cap Connors, right?
Cap Connors.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that line, and really like Squeaks, when she's about to get hit, she's like, oh, like she knew that Sophie was about to wallop her.
Squeaks.
Yeah, man. She literally squeaks.
Correct. Tommy Chong's daughter. Yes.
Hey, so I think it's a good time to talk about this, man. Are you aware of some of her comments here recently about Oprah?
Radon Chong?
Oh, Radon Chong went there, bro. Okay. Like, she called Oprah. Let me pull up the actual thing, man, because this is. I was shocked. This is something that my friend Janelle Pangburn put me onto. I had no idea that these things were said. She called Oprah a uppity N-word. She let me pull up the actual article.
Does Radon Chong live her life as a Black woman? I mean, I know she was in Soul Man.
Good question.
I don't believe so.
That's how I'm going to react. That's how I'm going to react to this news. Yeah. It's based on that answer. That's how I'm going to react to this news.
She called her, she said she 60 years ago, she would have been a housekeeper. Luckily, she would have been a field N-word. She called her a great brown noser. If you were in a room with her, she would pick the most powerful person and become best friends with them. She was that fat chick in school that did everything and everybody loved her. That's Oprah. Love me, love me, love me.
So I have a question.
Sure.
When I hear stuff like that, like recently, Scottie Pippen has some bad stuff to say about Mike.
And he was conspicuously absent on Sunday, by the way.
He didn't want that smoke.
He was there.
He was in the 75.
Recorded a video. He recorded a video.
Oh, did he? I thought he was there because I saw the little twist.
75. He wasn't in 75. He wasn't there. He wasn't there at the.
Okay, I saw him and I looked away.
Zeke was there. Zeke was there. Speaking of Chicago, Zeke was there. Zeke showed up.
Zeke don't shy away no more. But here's my question. So, who asked these people anything? Like who's knocking on her door? Like, excuse me, miss.
Excuse me, Radon Chong.
Yeah. We got some questions to ask you about Oprah. Like,
somebody named Maddie P's Radio Happy Hour, and then it popped up on TMZ.
Yeah, I never understand. Except for the pandemic. The pandemic explained. I was talking to my brother about this, who works at one of my brothers works at Big Ten Network, and in the beginning of the pandemic, you couldn't shoot anything live, so you couldn't make any new content. Sure. So at this point, you're just trying to fill time.
Yeah, burn off.
Yeah. So you're going out and you are asking random questions to get content over the internet.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, what? Who cares? Who cares what she thinks about Oprah? Oprah don't?
No. Oprah could care less.
She is not even on Oprah's radar.
Yeah, and so you say all these things, and you're like, then what? Yeah. I feel good. I said that.
I don't know. Exercise the demons, I guess. I don't get that one.
He's some New York shock jock. I
don't see the upside. I don't see the upside of dissing Oprah for Radon Shaw. I don't see how that in any way, unless she's like a right-wing conservative. But we don't even really know Oprah's politics. We knew she was down with the Obamas, but we really don't know Oprah's politics, to be perfectly honest, at all.
Yeah, I don't see what the end game in that is.
I mean, she married Soul Man, so see Thomas Howell was.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question specifically. Yeah. How did she live her life as a Black woman, or how did she live her life? Because that, to me, that's how I would respond to her use of the N-word. The N-word.
Sure.
I'm curious. And Instagram will tell me quickly.
Yeah,
how she lives her life.
So I think
quite obvious.
One of the other notes I wrote down was, and I think we kind of have addressed this. Is it okay to laugh at Color Purple as a film? And I mean, just in general, like, because I mean, when you post when I post these clips, the majority of the emojis are laugh emojis. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it says something again about kind of what I'm kind of circling back to what I said at the beginning about how we process pain and trauma, and how we react to using comedy as a defense mechanism to be able to process it. Because Reese, I think you asked a pointed and poignant question: how do we watch this movie over and over and over again? I think that that is a very significant part of that. Whether that's right or not, though, I think we should. I mean, again, as I mature, certainly I'm not the same guy I was 10 years ago that I was 20 years ago that I was 30 years ago. But I started to re-examine some of the viewpoints I had about things and whether whether me laughing at something is what's the impact to the people affected by it. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't want to become too serious or a parody of myself. You know what I mean? That's kind of a, I don't know, man. Like, how do y'all feel about like the comedy aspects of it? And I guess I'm asking more Joe than you, Reese, because like, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but Joe, do you think you have like a definitive way that you feel about it at this point?
The movie is comical though. I wrote it's almost as comical at times as Richard Donner's Popeye. And I think they made this serious thing a farce. And it's really, I don't take the racial element of it. I just think it's a lack of respect for the source material.
Okay.
By making it, I think they are afraid.
Okay.
To make it true to, because maybe it wasn't marketable enough.
Sure.
If they made it too true to the source material.
Sure.
But like Reese was saying, it's jarring from the beginning. It's jarring whenever the levity comes, they knock you right back into the to remind you, even in the very end, when we haven't seen Mr. lay a hand on her in years, she's reading a story, he hits her. Yeah. And that was the darkest blood we saw yet. The blood's just rushing out of Whoopi's nose.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time we saw Whoopi get beat. Yeah. Actually, get hit. Now, I mean, Whoopi playing the older Celie, I think. Yeah, Whoopi playing Celie, I think. And so I wrote it's farcical. This movie is farcical. And like they do, I mean, you know, there's that little scene in Godfather 2 when the flashback scene with the landlord. Yeah. They play the little music. They play the little music, and it's like, what the fuck? Like this is let's bring on the killing. Yeah. And let's get back. Let's
I don't need to see Vito being
I don't need to see all. I don't need to see all that bullshit, right? Yeah. But they put that in this film, and I could see why it didn't win Best Picture, because it didn't even take itself seriously enough. Yeah. Despite the amazing performances by the actors. I thought Whoopi Goldberg was robbed. Geraldine Page had been nominated like 14 times and she won. Okay, and she finally won. I thought Danny Glover deserved a nomination. I thought personally. I thought Oprah probably should have won as well, but my girl Angelica Houston won for Pritzi's Honor, and Suge could have won too. Yeah. If they'd written it true to form, Suge would have won best. She could have been up for Best Actress if they'd written the thing true to form the way it was supposed to be written. So I think it was too comical at times, but again, partly because they felt they had to do to market it, man. I just think the book is nuanced and amazing, and I think the film, in all sincerity, is a shell of the brilliance of that book. But Spielberg directed his ass off and shot a beautiful film. Yeah. And so here we're talking about the shit, 37 years later. So I don't know, man. I think you can laugh at the funny parts, but like Reese said, you're gonna get knocked right back. And I don't mean knocked. Like I'm not trying to like make trivialize the violence there, but you really get jolted back into the reality of the brutality of this period and the way that women were treated then. Sure. And juxtaposed to how they're treated now.
Sure. Reese, how do you feel about acting performances in the film, man? Like in terms of the quality of the because I think Joe brings up the point, and I agree that a lot of these roles were robbed in terms of recognition, but like for you watching it, having not had that same frame, what do you think about it?
Before I get into the acting, I wanted to touch on the question that you asked Joe about, can you laugh at it? The interesting thing is, when I was doing group therapy with men, one of the last assignments to make up, what they had to do if they missed class, they would have to watch a movie. And on the movie list, it would be movies that had domestic violence in them. And they would have to look at it through the lens of, you just took this course on domestic violence. You've just been, arrested for this. You went to jail, you separated. And on that list was Ike and Tina. Okay. And so everybody has seen that movie and everybody takes that comical approach to it until they have to live through some of that stuff and go through a class with me. And, we're talking about all this. And then guys come back and they're like, yeah, that was uncomfortable to watch. Like, I watched that before and it was funny. Yeah. Wasn't really funny this time, you know? So I think that to answer that question is like, they put in the levity there, and I think it's so out there that you might, but it snaps you right back. And if you're looking at the film in totality, like it ain't funny. Like it's just not. But as far as the acting goes, I think that almost the same answer. Like there were people that had really outstanding performances, but then you had like Harpo. And it was just like, it was just, every time he's on the scene, he's falling through a roof or
Willard Pugh takes it down a notch.
And so I think that the performances were good. I think that anytime that you have a movie like this where clearly you walk away from it and you're like, yo, that was a lot.
Yeah.
They delivered on what they were trying to deliver as far as the realism or making you feel their pain. Even like the nuanced thing where Suge was trying to get Whoopi to smile.
Yeah.
And that's showing that she is a stunted woman, that she didn't get to have a childhood, that she didn't get to grow up, that she didn't get to mature, right? Because of all this trauma that had come in. And so she was this little girl that still hadn't matured or wasn't allowed to grow.
Yeah.
Even that little twist on her character, I can't smile high, my smile high, how I am because I have to be a subservient child in this man's house. They delivered. I mean, I think that it was some good performances.
Yeah. I mean, to hit back on that, even her pa before Mr. One of the first lines he says to her is that she got the ugliest smile in creation or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, she never had a chance really,
Yeah.
It didn't stop that. It didn't stop that. Sorry, motherfucker, though, from
man,
that's a great. That was the craziest thing. I remember when I was watching it yesterday. I'm like, he says this in the beginning of they set the film up, early.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine Reese watching this, like, okay, he says that, and then it's clearly you understand, like, okay, that's her dad's baby.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah. Like, I'm talking the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Boy,
the first 5 minutes of the film.
When the film comes on, it comes in and it's just like wham, wham, wham. And it's like,
then
he goes into basically selling her to Mr.
Yeah.
And even his description, she's spoiled twice. But
but you know that.
But you should do what you say.
You should do whatever you want.
Yeah. It's like, bruh, where am I?
Man, to hit back on the awards real quick, Joe. Like, to me, the most egregious robbery was the music. Okay. And
so they nominated the wrong song.
Well, yeah, I agree.
They nominated the wrong song.
Should have been the song that was.
If it is an original song, which might have been the issue, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it was, though. I'm pretty sure it was.
But what's that?
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, until actually looking at the Wikipedia page and looking, like, I realized that Lionel Richie was credited as one of the writers for Miss Celia's Blues. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't until I'm on the Oscars page, but he won. I mean, he had a hell of
for Say You Say Me.
He won for Say You Say Me. I mean, first of all, let's talk about this real quick since we're here.
Okay.
86 Oscars. The songs up for best original song were Say You Say Me, hell of a song by Lionel Richie, if you're a Lionel Richie fan. Sister from The Color Purple. Because Quincy and Rod Temperton and Lionel were collaborators, though, bro. Like, they were collaborators.
Yeah, it was not unusual. Yeah.
That's not unusual. Then the next song after that is The Power of Love.
Yeah. That's the power
and the news. Huey Lewis and the news. And then the next song after that is Separate Lives, the love theme from White Nights, which, if I'm not mistaken, is sung by Phil Collins. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. No, you're not.
And then the last one is a chorus line, which I surprise President. I don't know that one well, but Marvin Hamlish. You get some of the greatest songwriters of the era.
Yeah.
Okay. In this one thing. So I think the problem was they put up the wrong song.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. That was the issue. They put up the wrong song. They should have put up God Is Trying to Tell You Something, because nothing was beating that. Not even Say You Say Me, which is, I mean, it's great, but a film that's supposed to, what's supposed to happen for best original song is that song is supposed to evoke the feelings of the film, of the movie.
Yeah.
And to me, God Is Trying to Tell You Something would have done that. It's kind of like it's a conversation we had about South Park, bigger, longer, and cut. Was Blame Canada really the one? Yeah, I get it, but Uncle Fucker is a better song. What will Brian Bertano do is a better song. Shit, the medley.
The medley. It's incredible. Yeah,
which is an original song. The medley that talks all the songs in one. That definitely could have beaten whatever won. I mean, I think the next year was Lose Yourself, so it wasn't up against that. But the point being, it's like, come on, you picked the wrong song. Lin-Manuel Miranda just did that with Encanto. He put some other song. The song the kids are singing, I don't know about in your house, Reese, but in my house is Bruno. You don't talk about Bruno, and that's not the song they nominated. That's not the song they put forth. But that's the hit. That's the banger from the whole daggone album. I know, bro. I know, but it's all a choice, right? So they got too cute, and they instead of running it on the one, they threw the ball.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So they got
beast mode,
but they got beast mode. When you got beast mode right there. So I want to say this about this song. In Dallas, Texas, my mother would listen to Heaven 97. There's 970 on the AM dial.
Okay.
In the morning, so my dad was either KLIF, which is Sports Talk Radio, or PBS on the way into school. In the evenings, when mom picked me up, it would be Heaven 97. When I tell you, they would sign off every day. We wouldn't get home till about 5 something. They would sign off every day with God Is Trying to Tell You Something. Every day leading up to the Oscars. The Oscars were on a Monday. The Oscars were on Mondays back then. I'll never forget. We came home, and the last thing they said, what they said is, and tonight they're gonna win it all. Yeah. So one more time, we're gonna play God Is Trying to Tell You Something. And I remember being a kid listening to it, like the voices are clearly different. It's clearly not Suge. It was, and of all the things, it's a Spielberg film, and the ADR on that was horrible. Suge been singing one way the whole time. Then all of a sudden she sings gospel, and she's like a bass, not even an alto, a bass.
Yeah.
A baritone or something like that. It made no sense. And then the fact that she could walk up but it was so quiet, I guess, out there. As a kid, I didn't understand it. Like, how could you walk from the juke joint and they can hear you, and you're walking up and they can still hear you, your voice over everything? It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
But by the time they got in there, shout out to another Chicago film, it was daggone Blues Brothers at James Brown's church.
Yeah.
She had a full band.
Yeah.
My mother's theory is the girl who was singing in the choir is one of Suge's daughters.
Huh.
That's my mother's theory.
That's one of those unanswerable questions, but
because you never see the children.
Yeah,
that's true. All the kids got the same daddy. I can guarantee. Boy, you can't guarantee a guy.
But, hey, man. By the way, man, shout out to a negative shout out, reverse shout out to old Mr. emasculating the hell out of Mr. in that scene, putting his foot right in his crotch. Like, I mean, he just like, I mean, he took old Mr. down through it. Or young Mr. rather, Albert down through it and made him into a little boy, and like, I mean, it was amazing to me.
Yeah, crazy man.
Yeah,
crazy man.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. I thought Danny Glover though should have been nominated.
Yeah,
like we said, I thought he should have been nominated for at least supporting actor.
Yeah.
And when Adolph Caesar, I thought he could have been nominated for something. But when you asked me about the Broadway, like when I went to see it on Broadway, no one wanted to cheer for the guy playing Mr. because that's how good he was, right? He was that good in the role.
Right.
And the role was still vicious.
Right.
And the role was still rough and tough.
Right.
But that's how good he was in the role.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to cheer for him. It was like,
you got to give a shout out to like the people that make you hate him, like Michael Rainey Jr. as Reek on Power, or like
Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. I mean, he is
the little boy in Game of Thrones who was Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Yeah, Joffrey. I mean, he was amazing.
And then Ramsey.
Yeah, and Ramsey Bolton. Yeah.
I mean, they were
Sims on The Office.
Yes.
But that does make me wonder, as an actor,
Kathy,
you get the script, they tell you what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you see
everything.
incestuous pedophilia, and you like, all right, I can do that.
The thing is though, Lloyd from Boomerang, there was never a scene. It's Synapse response. So we just see the response. We just see the result of his bullshit.
Right. I was thinking more for Mister.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. With Nettie.
Yeah. How do you see that in this? Cause I'll tell you right now. If it's me, I'm like, nope, pass.
Well, it's like, so I have a student at Morehouse. Oh, no, he just graduated actually now. Brandon. He was up for a role in Respect, and he plays the guy who supposedly, who sexually assaulted Aretha, that led to her first child when she was like 12. So he's like, man, I got this role in Respect. Da, da, da. Then he gets the script, and he's like, man, I got to tell you, he was in my office. He's like, look at this scene. Look what I got to do. I said, damn. Well, how much does it cost? How much are they paying? And he told me, and I was like, okay. I said, that could pay for your semester. He said, yeah. I said, what you gonna do? I'm like, what you got? And he did it, and had a damn premiere party.
Like acting school. You gotta do what you gotta
like
do.
Acting school. That was fun. No,
that's
gotta do what you gotta do.
And that's what lets me know I'm not a real actor.
Come on, man! You got a SAG card. You getting SAG checks.
You're getting screeners, baby.
You more than
screeners.
I got one line in a college play, Reese. You my hero.
Hey, no.
But I'm married.
Because when we're on set, and even there are some things that they ask us to do, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do that. Like, it's just, and it doesn't matter because it makes you feel a certain way. So that's a big part of acting that I don't think that I have in me, where you're like, this is something that goes against who I am or what I believe in, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna play the hell out of it. Like, It's like, mm-mm.
All right, so Reese, you known for the Surly recap, which I appreciate. Like, I look forward to it after our shows. As a matter of fact, if you haven't reached out after a little while, I'm like, man, did Reese listen, or is this a movie that Reese didn't like? I'm looking for it. So what have we missed? What are the things that we haven't discussed that we should have discussed so far?
So I'll tell you. So usually it happens like after a watch, and you think about it later. It's not like in the moment, because when I'm in the moment and I'm listening to you guys, except for one thing, when you guys didn't know the stretch of time at the best man between her dying and the funeral.
Yeah.
And only because my wedding anniversary is December 28th.
Okay.
And they flashed it on the screen, and I was like, wait a minute. It was Christmas, and then
that was arrogance. We just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't watch. That was pure arrogance. So we didn't want to go back and look. That's what that was.
Yeah, but that otherwise, I don't. So like after we get off, I'll think about like,
okay,
oh man, we didn't talk about this, or oh man, we never really referenced that. So it's,
Well, I know Joe and I both took notes, and I had the privilege of seeing Joe's notes previously. So Joe, what have we not covered in your notes?
I'm looking through it now. I think when that dinner scene, she says, your daddy ain't nothing but some dead horse shit. And then later, Miss Old Mister said, boy, you gonna sit here and let that woman talk to you like this? And what the hell? And he goes off. And then Mr. goes off.
Yeah.
And whatever he's saying must be right, because Suge is like, Albert, stop. Like, stop,
right.
stop.
Right.
And then she responds the way she does. And she has line after line. She is landing haymakers. Line after line. Until you do right by me. Who's to say? Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble. Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna fall. And then the jail you plan for me is the one you will ride in. I thought it was like one line.
Already done.
I thought it was like one line. Who are you? You can't put a spell on me. But it was like that mystical weirdness. Then they put some weird music behind it. It was kind of like the Untouchables, when they break into the first place, and the music and the guy goes, "Hey, you can't be here." Like, is this about Capone? Is this about shooting people up, or is this about some old jokey? Why make it light? But that scene, I guess it got too intense.
Yeah,
and they had to do some interesting little music with it. But I thought that was interesting. I also wanted to say, why did Suge come back? And I mentioned it. Why did she come back to Hartwell County? Like, I also wrote the Harpo this is we haven't talked about. The Harpo-Sealy relationship was never really discussed.
Yeah.
She's his mother for all intents and purposes. And he's essentially her son, but it's never really discussed or fleshed out.
Yeah.
And it's almost as though whatever her opinion on what Harpo was doing didn't matter, primarily because she was a woman. And I think only quote unquote beautiful women, or those considered beautiful, which I think Whoopi Goldberg is a beautiful woman. And I think throughout this film, she was absolutely beautiful. And I wrote that as well. That I think her opinions on things just didn't seem to matter, but it's never discussed. And then he had 3 kids. We don't even talk about the girls.
Yeah.
They were at the house too. You know what I mean?
Amongst the many kids.
Yeah, amongst the many kids, he had Harpo and then 2 daughters, and it's just never. Oh, she's tender-headed. She's tender-headed. That's all we ever saw. Heard.
Wasn't Sealy Harpo's stepmom?
Yeah. I mean, but she raised him though. Like,
but she raised. Yes, yeah, but she raised.
He was the oldest, so he was about 8 or so.
Yeah, he's about 8 or so.
He was able to distinguish.
Yeah, he was.
That this is not my mom. Yeah. And so once a kid has that relationship with a step parent, like,
talk to me.
It's never going to be like,
Thank you.
It's never going to be like, that's your, I have a stepmom and we're cool, but it's never like, that's my mom.
Yeah. Cool. I needed that perspective on that. They never even had like a semblance of relationship. The other thing I was going to say was Suge was fine the whole movie. Suge is just, Margaret Avery was fine. Is fine. Yeah. Okay. Suge is fine the whole movie. And she's sick when she gets in the house. You show is ugly, then she has a bathtub scene, but then they clean her up. And from that moment on, she is just absolutely radiant and beautiful and amazing the entire film. Even when she comes back and she's obviously aged, and the hemline is more like, I'm a married woman. I was married now, even with all that, and the dresses are, they're not scoop necks anymore. We're not showing no skin, but she's fine. She's fine the whole time. And if you need any reminder of that, go back and watch the scenes when she runs to the mailbox. Just trust me on that.
I'll tell you one thing that we didn't talk about that I had a question about. After all was said and done, why did Mr. take the money, get the letter, and go pay for it?
It's much better explained in the book, but like really what it boiled down to was that he was run down and he really felt like she did truly curse him, and like everything that he was doing was crumbling. He was sleeping under the table. His dad, to the extent his dad come and tell him, boy, get you a young gal, and get yourself right, all that kind of thing. So I think he recognized that, like, really and truly, the only thing he could do to get right would be to do this thing for her.
Although we have we have a little evidence of it in the book.
Yeah.
But of the after that, we have a little evidence of it in the book. But to your point, I think he knew it was the right thing to do, and he did it. Much like when that scene, it sure is nice to see you two together again. Like when he's at Harpo's.
Yeah.
I got nothing else going on. I'm gonna go down here. I could always drink at my son's spot. And
when he saw Harpo and Sophia together, that also probably kind of accelerated that. I would agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not really well explained. There's not a lot of exposition there, and I think it's something that probably needed some exposition. And I
also wondered, is Suge living with Sealy at her house?
See,
I'm so curious about that.
I think that's what was. I think that's what was supposed to be implied. I mean, Steve Spielberg really like kind of just pussyfooted around the whole lesbian relationship.
And I'm not saying, it was 1985. Okay. a number, another.
But he's on record. He's on record for regretting that how he handled that.
I'm sure he does. If he doesn't do that, he probably wins Best Picture.
Yeah,
he probably gets a director nomination, and he wins Best Picture for having guts in 1985.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I agree with you. I'm sure he does regret it. I'm sure he does regret it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Alice Walker regrets. I'm sure they all do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they all regret it. You know.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, later, Whoopi won her Oscar for Ghost.
Yeah.
Molly, you in danger, girl. But
Oda Mae Brown. God bless.
Oda Mae Brown. I saw that in the theaters, but that's a movie we'll probably never ever do. But she later won, won for Ghost, so it worked out. I don't think she even been nominated again after that. I don't. But I want to talk about her career after that too. It just went. I mean, she spun off the planet after that, man.
Yeah.
Whoopi was an entity. She was fast becoming an entity.
Yeah.
And but was and then she did like Jumpin' Jack Flash. Imagine doing the Jumpin' Jack Flash and
Pink Cadillac.
What was the other one?
Pink
Cadillac.
Another one.
Yeah.
Or no, it wasn't Pink Cadillac. It was what was it?
But imagine being up for nominated for Best Actress, and then your next movie is like Jumpin' Jack Flash, and you're wearing like blue contacts, and you did it with like some movie with Sam Shepard and shit.
I have to.
No, it was
the check was fat.
Oh yeah, it was something about beauty, Fatal Beauty.
Fatal Beauty. That's what it was.
That's Jet Magazine in the back of Jet Magazine. Blacks in the movies this week.
Yeah,
that's a lifetime of studying that. But yeah, I thought there were some near misses in this film that led to what it was. But it's jarring.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew it was jarring, but when Reese has only seen it for the first time, like recently, and here we are, we're in our 40s, and you watch it, it's like we voluntarily watch this as families.
Yeah.
Like black people getting around on TV. Like I told you, my family watched Lean on Me over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Color Purple was the same way.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we were allowed to all sit. My brother and sister, much younger than me. I don't know how they're allowed to sit there and watch that with us. But go ahead.
Lindsay talked about that because I had a question for her, and she was cracking up because she's like, it's not funny, but your take on it, seeing it, knowing what you do, seeing it as a 43-year-old man, your take on it, she was just like, this is hilarious. Like hearing you talk about it and recoil. And I was like, her and you all talking about going to see this as children.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what? Like,
and it's almost as though it was perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
For
this is family viewing.
No, but perfectly acceptable for that kind of brutality against women.
Yeah.
And it was in the book, but no one ever it's not ever brought up.
Even the brutality, but it's just like, it's brutality, it's sex.
Yeah,
it's the
incest,
underage. It's just like, it's the whole thing, and it's just like, I can see, and I think that I can see that what you talked about, like how us as a people deal with trauma. I can see the parents sitting there and being like, "We watching this," and everybody has like this link in their brain, like, "I saw that. I don't know what that is, but I know better than to ask."
Yeah, I want to keep watching. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna sit here quiet as my. Yeah. I used to do that every Saturday night. Spencer for Hire. At some point, when Spencer for Hire would be on Saturday night, my dad would forget I was sitting there, and then some shit would happen. And I'd go, "Ooh, Joe, go to bed." Damn, I'd mess it up myself.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. My daughter Sage does the same thing.
I was just about to ask you. Have you had that experience with your daughter? My daughter will sit there quietly.
Now look, so lately, the Kanye, I was like, oh yeah, take my phone, go play in the other room. We were basically having a watch party for the neighbors next door. I gave her my phone to go play some game because I did not want her in there, because every third word they was dropping F-bomb, S-bomb. I mean, it was a lot of cursing in the Kanye doc. But we'll watch. I'll be trying to watch something. I can't. Things come up. Yeah. The show Family Reunion that she loves. they're now in a place where they're having special episodes where they're talking about a lot of just a lot of topics and of discussion. And the beauty is, because it's 2022 or 21 when we were watching it, we're having conversations with her that I didn't think we were going to have until much later. We're having conversations with a 7-year-old about sexuality and about relationships and about gender identity and about all these other things that I thought we weren't going to have for much further down the road. Come to find out, oh no, second grade at APS, like shit, they already that shit is being discussed. So among the kids. So so it's interesting though. I remember I watched Boys in the Hood with my parents, and when the scene Brandy and don't get me pregnant, I won't. Okay. When the scene with Brandy and Trey, finally when it finally happens, I'm sitting there with my parents, like, okay, all right.
I had my eyes
on either side of me.
My parents covered my eyes physically, but I can see. I can see Ricky get shot.
Howard, bro. I was home from Howard, bro. I was like 23, 24 years old. I was 20 something. I was 20, 21 or 20. And I was home from Howard. And I was like, okay.
I was close to a teenager, but still got my eyes covered.
Yeah. But I just try. I usually, and I'd seen the movie 30 times. I got a drink of water.
Yeah.
I'll cough if I know somebody's about to curse. Reese, to your point, I'll cough and make a loud noise.
So my daughter, she plays chess with it, because when she's in the house she can get sent to bed. But like if I'm in the car and something comes on the radio, I remember something came on and it's a song I know and I might have been humming or whatever, and then it gets into the mother, and I'm like, okay, let me turn that. And she says, you knew it had those curse words in it when it first came on. Why didn't you turn it then? And I was like,
Sage would be like, I heard that.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot. I forgot that those were in there.
Like Daddy, I heard that. I heard that. You heard what? What you hear? What you hear? Because we're gonna talk about it and shit.
Yeah.
But I heard. But to bring it full circle, this Hendrix upstairs probably not asleep right now. Will not be seeing the color purple. She might be 43 before she see it. Because we will not be. This is not family viewing over here.
Well, when you know better, you do better, man. So
yeah, man. I mean, and we're not alone. I'm sure, Calvin. I'm sure we're not alone. We're like full Black families. We're sitting down.
No, I mean, like I'm telling you, when I announced on the Facebook feed and everything else, like I mean, people, this is a family like tradition type deal. So we're not alone at all. But
the interesting thing is, I went to watch it again last night, and the first time I saw it, I think I saw it on HBO Max. I know it was on one of the apps. But every time I go to watch something, I forget where I started. So I start at the beginning. I'm like, let me start on demand. And I went to on demand. It's Black History Month. It is free. Like it's usually $3.99 rental. It was like rented for $0. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, bro, who? And Lindsay said, who is watching this over and over again? It's long. It's traumatic. Like, how is this something that you're gonna tune in? Like, I'll watch Boomerang over and over again. This right here, this going in the vault. 2 and we done. Like 2 and 2. That's it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I'll watch a movie. Shoot, man, to the tape pops. I'll watch a movie over and over again. But like I said, I had to watch it for the questions I knew Calvin we were going to discuss today. What are the little things? Who's on second? I had to watch it again, and I hadn't watched it in 10 years. And if it's on, I'm not watching that shit. I might watch, like, if it's the last scene, not the last scene, but the second last scene, God's trying to tell you something, I'll watch that. But and it's simply because every day for like 3 months, I heard it coming home from school. I heard that song every day for 3 months. But yeah, this is not fun viewing again. There's almost no, personally, I gain nothing.
I tell you, I watched parts.
Watching now, I would read it. Yeah, I would read the book again.
Yeah,
which I strongly encourage. And I know how Reese feels about it. I totally understand. Extreme respect for that. But I would read the book again.
Yeah,
which will probably incense me even more about the film. Actually, But I would definitely read the book again.
The book is amazing. It's
I can
handled
sit down for 5 minutes to do it.
It's handled definitely by, just by virtue of the fact that Alice Walker, like the way she writes it, it's the things that are more jarring in the film are handled with a little bit more delicate touch.
And you can do like 3 pages on it's like 3 pages explain, 3 or 4 pages explain one thing, as opposed to a scene in a movie, which doesn't give you the exposition that you.
But I feel you, Reese. You never have to read it. Trust, it's all good.
Reese ain't read it. He ain't such an engine.
Really, real quick. I want to. We didn't talk about the breakfast scene. And when Suge first comes.
Yeah.
And Albert's trying to make breakfast for her, and she tells him, the butter's in the cooler on the shelf, and she tells him twice, and he's making a mockery of cooking this breakfast, you know what I mean? And then he gives it to her, he's like, "What are you trying to do? Kill me?" And throws it against the wall, and it's like the ketchup and mustard for whatever reason. I don't know why ketchup and mustard are both in this meal,
and a lot of it,
and
a lot of it too,
a lot of it. And so, and then she makes this meal that has the local dogs, because we never see these dogs again, I don't think. These local dogs come up and start howling, smelling the ham with the little ham bone in the middle of it, and the
ham steak.
The biscuits.
Ham steak.
Yeah, it was a ham steak right there.
Ham steak, the biscuits, these biscuits that look delectable, the eggs. The sunny side up eggs looking amazing. The grits, and I don't even like grits.
Short stack.
Short stack.
Short stack too. Yeah, she had short stack too.
Like she does this meal that is just incredible and like effortlessly, and then she has this system like with the pots and the pans that she with the bucket and the like.
The dumbwaiter.
Yeah. Yes, the dumbwaiter. Exactly. Like, I want to give a shout out just to her domestic prowess. Like to clean that horrible home up, like when she's scrubbing and you actually see that there is a pattern on the wall, like like she, Celia could run a household, and there was that. So
she wasn't dumb. She wasn't dumb.
No, by no means. And she taught herself to read Oliver Twist. Ain't no easy book. She's reading Oliver Twist, and it is literate. Makes an effort to be literate, you know what I mean? Like really, again, resiliency, man. She's trying to better herself, and I think that was not lost. So anyway, man, I think we've covered The Color Purple. I think we have a new.
Wait! I'm so sorry. The scene that you said, the scene that did disappoint me was the explanation of the title.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, because it's
about royalty.
Yeah,
about the color purple itself, like
why it's
why the color purple is important, and if you walk by the color purple and don't recognize that something's wrong with you, you shame the gods or something like that. God is upset with you. God is upset with you, and it's like, what? That's what we're doing. And if you notice that same flower is throughout. Even when he gets knocked at when Nettie kicks him in the. When she kicks him and knocks him down, he falls on the ground, and those purple flowers are very close to him as well. At the end, when the girls are doing but never part, you never part. Yeah, you and me never part. Again, they're back in the flowers, just like at the beginning of the film. And then when we finally get the explanation of what The Color Purple is about, it was like her and Suge are walking because they're madly in love. Her and Suge are walking, Celia and Suge are walking through a field. And it's like they give us a snippet of what this is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's The Color Purple.
Yeah.
What was it? Because maybe I missed that. What was this?
It's about how precious it is and how special that color is, and how you should always notice it and have reverence for it because it's so different. And so it taking the time to me, taking the time to appreciate and respect those things that are different. That's how I perceived that scene. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was supposed to be.
Being, it was a small thing. It was a small part of this whole film, and to me, that would have been the thing that's supposed to tie the bow on everything. You know what I'm saying? It's the title of the
and in the novel, it gets a lot more credence. I mean, she mentions it quite often. She calls back to it quite often in the novel.
Yeah.
It's given short strip. It's like, oh, by the way, you know, there's an oh, by the way scene, and unless you are particularly astute, like Joe was saying, and paying attention to it in the background, you don't really notice it. And like, you know, I mean, they like, for as much as we talk about the wardrobe and everything like that, like, you know, they could have played it up in that aspect, for instance, and they don't. It's just kind of an afterthought, which it didn't have to be. So,
I would be remiss if I didn't shout out. You talk about C's living up to things. I have a ex-coworker, who used to call one of our bosses Miss Millie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every day.
Yeah.
She'd be like, oh, Miss Millie. And that is something that didn't make it into pop culture enough that I knew what it was until I saw the movie. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't want to I'm cautious of if we ever get enough listenership, viewership. I'm not going to. There was a certain mayoral candidate in and I swear, like, and I you know, like, I just got strong Miss Millie vibes from this woman, you know, running for mayor in a certain black city in the South, you know, and every time I would see images of her or you know, hear her rhetoric about her campaign, you know, I've always been good to you people, you know. You want to be my maid? Yeah, Miss Millie is
hell no.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I met that lady once at Crawford Long. I was in Crawford Long Hospital.
Were the vibes real?
Somewhat, somewhat. No, but she was with her mother. She was with her mother trying to help her mother at the hospital, trying to do like paperwork and everything. I looked at her and I'm like, oh my god, that's Miss Millie, and she was cousin It's like wife or girlfriend in the Addams Family. Yeah, and so. Yeah. So imagine what's going through my, like, both these things are like warring in my head right now. Color Purple Miss Millie, cousin It's girlfriend, later wife. And I'm thinking like, man, this is nuts. And she's like 6 feet away. She's 6 feet away from me. But she's just trying to fill out some paperwork for her mom to get to help her mom go see the doctor. I want to talk to her. And I'm like, this ain't the time, brother. This is not the time. So that's real life.
Yeah,
Miss Millie was just a working actress. I was
about to say, if I'm trying to fill out some paperwork and somebody's like, I love bust downs, I'm like, no, come on, man. Like,
I would totally do it, Reese. I can't wait for next homecoming, because that's the first thing I'm gonna say to you when I see you. I love bust downs. I love
bust downs. I mean, it's like I was at the Easter egg roll in 16, and Christian Bale was moving through with, I guess he's like his youngest. And he had a look on his face. He looked like Batman in that moment. Like he was walking mad, mean. You know, our kids can, you know, like being at the White House isn't nearly enough for these damn children. And so that we love so very much. And so he was walking through, and I was like, oh man, I want to say hi to Christian Bale, but he had a look on his face like, nah, man, now ain't the time. You know what I'm saying? Like this little Joker been acting up. And my experience at the Easter egg roll and his, two very different experiences. Like he's you know, inside the house, I'm outside the house in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Very, very different experience. But then somebody's like, no, he looked happy. Look at the pictures. I said, yeah, let me tell you, when I saw that man, he was on a tear. He was on an absolute tear and looked like he was about to whoop some, you know, he was about to light it up. But you know, everybody's watching him. He had to be cool, but he was walking with a lot of purpose in his stride. So but Miss Millie,
off the utility belt.
Oh, brother, and give that little Joker all that he could handle. But Miss Millie really is a caricature. Yeah. But I didn't mind her farcical, comical part of the film as well. But when she says, "I don't know him,"
I don't know those.
I don't know.
I don't know them either.
Yeah. I've been nothing but good to you people. And she was just talking about getting something for the colored children because they can have a toy.
And all they're trying to do is keep her from destroying things with her car. She's literally out of control.
That was a bad idea from the jump.
Yeah.
Like that didn't make, she can't drive well.
Yeah.
That made no sense. And I know why the man got her the car, so he wouldn't have to worry about her.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the mayor is no different than any of the other men that we've seen in this film.
Oh yeah.
I'm positive of that.
I believe it.
from the relationship, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm positive. I just want to say that. Sorry. For
sure. Hey, look, so Reese, we definitely appreciate you, man. I want to shout out real quick. We make light of it and talk about it all the time, but you are a Black entrepreneur, Black-owned business, Surly Shirts. You know what I mean? During Black History Month, we've been very intentional about, talking about Black-owned businesses and really people should support our Black-owned businesses and don't be looking for the damn hookup, but like really support our businesses. And I'm proud to be associated. Every time I wear one of your shirts, man, and somebody has something to say, like, yeah, man, that's Morehouse. That's my Morehouse brother. Go to the website. One of my memories pulled up the other day of when I had on one of the shirts. I think it was the Housemore shirt. And I was at Publix and a brother was like, "Oh, that's a dope shirt." You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of pride associated with telling people about your business and everything like that, man. So we do appreciate you. And thank you for your creativity and sharing your creativity with us, man.
Hey, man, I'm humble and appreciative. I never thought in a million years like that I would have a business, or that I would have that business, or that people would, every time I make a shirt, every time I make a sale, it's amazing to me that people laugh or get the things that I create in my basement, sitting in this very seat right here, drinking a beer. This was funny to me. I'm gonna put it out there, and it's gonna resonate with people. The one thing that I would say about entrepreneurship, and you can do it. You can absolutely do it. I am not the smartest person on the earth. I'm not the most creative. I'm not the most person with the most ingenuity. I think people need to hear that you can do it. And whenever somebody asks me for help or how do I do this, I am 100% down to tell them this is how you do it.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. I don't feel like I'm in competition with you. If you want to have a t-shirt line, because I'm gonna smoke you, that's separately.
Well, I saw that go down in the Morehouse Spellman group. That was funny to me, man. Like,
you said what?
In the Morehouse Spellman group, that actually I saw that happening. Like, like folks were kind of intimidated because the designs were dope. You know what I mean? And they were like trying to promote their businesses or whatever. But like it was clear, like you had the this is the bad fruit. Remember the good fruit, bad fruit?
Oh
yeah.
Hey, I welcome a open marketplace. Do your thing. I mean, I am highly competitive.
You're a Morehouse man.
this business, like Larry David said, he had a spite store.
Yeah.
Like this is all vanity. Like I just want to put the hottest thing out there. And when I see other people wearing stuff, I'm just like, is that really a shirt you bought? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But hey, but I appreciate everybody. I appreciate when people post pictures, they take pictures, good pictures, bad pictures, and people are genuinely happy. They're genuinely want to tell me the story. Like, oh man, this. I had to stop my mother. Like my mother will be in Chicago and she'll see somebody wearing a shirt and she will go up to them and be like, "Hey, where'd you get that shirt?" Like she don't know, just so they can tell the story. And I'm just like, Mom, you got to stop that. You do not stop strangers.
Yeah.
You know where they got the shirt. Move on. Smile. Move on.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, man, the candle, man. You guys did another, in person again. Bang up job, man, and honoring PJ Morton and just a number of luminaries and dignitaries. I know that in my feeds for the Dean Blocker Society and the Morehouse Alumni Association here in Nashville, a lot of people were very happy about Dr. J.K. Haynes, getting his flowers and everything like that, man. What were your thoughts on what you guys did, man?
Very happy for J.K. Happy to learn really about his research, sickle cell anemia. I didn't know any of that. It's funny. I've been interviewing for work. I've been interviewing these professors in the sciences, and I told them like, hey, I didn't go up to your side of the hill. Like I don't thong. I don't go up there, and I still don't go up there if I can help it. If I can help it. Unfortunately, guess where Graves is, and everyone wants to take a picture for the grave, so that you got to go up there for that.
Yeah, but man, never met McVay, baby.
We went. That was for Senate meetings only. Senate meeting. We give Dre his props. That's where it stops. No, I was very happy for him. Long overdue. Happy for all the honorees. Obviously, I look forward to. This is the first guys from the 2000s. So this past year. There will be more to come. So I'm happy that's finally been, that ceiling has finally been broken. And hopefully then bust the wall open. So now we just gonna run through like a zombie movie. And I have some opinions on who should receive them soon. So I have a lot of opinions on that. But we're happy for the people that did. That did obviously did, and it was a little different. There was no VIP reception. There was there were a number of things that were just different. But overall, the college raised 7 figures for scholarships, and for that we are grateful.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to I've been trying to drink my alcoholic beverages and keep them black during this period of time, and so
you should.
Our Spellman sister and Benny Ashburn and Teo Johnson. You probably can't see it because of the green screen, but this is Crown and Hops HBCU IPA. And so our good friend Ronald Cache Valls is an investor with them, based out of Inglewood, California. They got a lot of great varieties. As a matter of fact, when I went to Cash's house for the Super Bowl, that's what we were drinking on. It's black owned breweries. They're branching out, trying to get all across the country. So if you happen to run into some Crown and Hops, pick it up. It's actually, I put it on par with my local the home style IPA. I prefer the Crown and Hops to that. You know what I mean? So shout out to them. Shout out to the guidance again from last week or the last episode. Jason Rigel and crew. If you got a black owned, I'm gonna get that Black Girl Magic. I enjoy I've had Black Girl Magic wine quite often, and it is very, 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 very good for certain occasions. So, particularly the rosé, all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
rosé,
buy black, man. Buy, support our people, because we all we got. We need to circulate these dollars in our community, and let these dollars wash off a little bit before they go out and you buy your whatever else you want to buy. Support our people, man. We need it. We need to empower ourselves, because what we have seen in the past few years, especially, we thought we were in a place, we're not in that place. We all we got. So, anyway.
I want to say something to that. As far as support does not always mean buying something.
That's true.
You can support for free 99. You can repost some stuff. If it, you can share something. Calvin just supported. He just shared something. I immediately went to see if I could order it online and get it in my area. Sharing something on social media, especially, that's how things go viral. That's how things catch on. That's how people hear about things. So, and you cannot get mad if Black owned goes away because you simply did not repost something.
Yeah, that's true. Just post it. You know what I mean? Just sharing it with somebody. Sharing it in general, I found, especially on social media feeds, again, people ask about it. I know you jump on anytime somebody says anything about the shirt. You got the link right there in the comment.
Hey, I have the days that I have had the best sales or gone viral, it's never been something I've posted. with the exception of one thing. It's always been something that somebody else posts or reposts or pushes out there, and I catch on late, and I'm like, oh, they're having a conversation about this. So I hope people understand the power of sharing something or putting it on. Like sometimes people will take pictures of my shirts and they'll give me the picture, like, here you go, you can market with that. I'm like, no, you have to post that, because you're going to post it to your circle and other people are going to see it, and that are linked to you. So
yeah, for sure. All right, well, so Joe, I'm not gonna we'll have to talk about what we'll do next, man. I don't want.
Oh, I was about to give it to you, but go ahead.
Oh, hey, well, tell us what we doing next.
I'm thinking some Bill Murray, man.
Okay.
Feeling real Bill Murray like.
Okay.
And but it's down to 2 movies. We can discuss later, but it's going to be a Bill Murray. It's going to be a Bill Murray film.
Okay.
And so my question is, do we go the big, huge, iconic one, or do we go a smaller film that I think is just Murray at his absolute best? So we shall discuss. And
Mark Scott can't wait.
Yeah, as always. Yes, sir.
I can't wait. Yeah. Reese, man, you the Johnny.
Shout out to Reese.
Shout out to Reese.
Shout out to Reese. Every time. I wish I had. Well, I'm gonna just act like I.
Yeah, man. Reese,
I didn't drink everything in this big ass cup.
The highlight.
Yeah, few.
You. Hey.
How come no one made a highlight?
Hey,
they still make those little glass.
Reese,
those little bottles. Remember those little bottles?
Ponies.
They still make those. Yeah, they still make the. I haven't seen a pony. I've been a lot of places, dude.
They still make the pony.
They still make them.
DC was the. Well, that was my first introduction to the ponies. I remember the Howard football team would drink the pony Lowenbrows.
Yeah.
They'd have like 60 of them.
You got to go to the specific stuff for it.
I know where to go.
My first pony was handed to me in Cindy Ludenbacher's class, poetry.
Well,
a certain wild-haired doctor. Reached, and I was already faded. Reached under the seat and gave me one.
Was that senior year?
Yes, it was the poetry class with all of us in it, and I was already faded. And in my mind, I was like, I can't drink this in class. So I took my shirt off and wrapped the pony in the shirt. So now I'm sitting there in a beater, drinking a pony out of a shirt, like.
in a moment of ingenuity, as Bunny Colvin said.
Yeah, that's like The Wire. It became a private thing once you wrap the once you put it in the bag or wrapped it up.
That brother came out of the cut rate.
Yeah, dude, I would pay money to interview Cindy Ludenbacher about that class, because I bet in her mind she was like, oh, you guys were 100% ridiculous, but what could I do? It was y'all senior year, and
yeah,
I let it go.
For sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until the very next time, we have been the Open Cast Podcast on behalf of Reese and Joe and myself. We appreciate you. Follow us, like us, subscribe, do all those good things, interact, tell people about us. Every little bit helps. Really interacting, that pushes those numbers up. And we're gonna keep pumping along, and we'll be here with the Bill Murray movie next time. So we'll see you guys. Peace.